Don't worry about it. I could just tell people.
Yeah.
All the rest of West Coast.
Welcome everybody to 11 Sports live coverage of D1A Collegiate Rugby. I'm Alex Goff and we're here at the home of the Houston SaberCats Major League Rugby team to welcome the University of Texas against Texas A&M. Texas, an improving side coming off a win against LSU last week, will be hard-pressed to keep up with a very strong Aggies team and will need a lot of work from their back row, led by Joe Jankhouse at number 8. Meanwhile, the Aggies, they're thinking about a championship meeting with Oklahoma, possibly in a month. But right now, watch out for Jeremy Brown at fullback, who's a big playmaker for a very potent backline from Texas A&M. It's a classic Red River matchup, Texas A&M against the University of Texas, right here on 11 Sports Live.
Welcome back, everybody, to AVEVA Stadium here in Houston. I'm Alex Goff, along with Shay Flowers, the commissioner for the Red River Conference. And we are just about ready to kick off here with the Texas A&M Aggies against the University of Texas Longhorns. Just finishing up a little bit of warm-up, a little bit of last-minute discussion, and a big game for Texas A&M as they try to clinch their spot in the Red River Conference Championship game, likely against Oklahoma. We're checking on scores, so we're not sure there quite yet, but that is the expectation. And the University of Texas, much improved this year. And Tashay, one of the big things, you want to see teams perform well on a national stage, but also see a team like Texas, who were struggling to get wins last year, get a couple of wins under their belt.
As one of our biggest branded schools, it's great when their rugby improves. Connolly McKay has done a great job. They've taken on some top competition this year, and we love to see what they've done so far. And when it comes to these two teams, Texas is going to give their best effort. Longtime rivals.
Coming out of a win against LSU last week, and A&M is undefeated as they huddle up there in midfield. Looking at the lineups today for Texas A&M, your props, James Lardner and Greg Dorgant with Thomas Batterson in at hooker. Second rows are Richard Bazzini and Cade Ball. In the back row, Ben Hoffman, Will Green, and Jack Clayton is your number 8. And then the halfback pairing of Joe Keblis and Manuel Zapata Sanchez. And then in the backs, the centers, Nick Purcell and Jason Tidwell. And your wings, Dustin Holta, number 11, Hayden Martin, number 14. And the fullback, Jeremy Brown. For Texas Longhorns, well, Yusuf Hashmi and Victor Sherhard are your front row. Jack Hurley at hooker. They've got a lot of work to do. It's going to be tough for them up front. Miguel Fryer and Zachary Sisti at second row. And a lot of work also expected of that back row to get to the breakdown quickly. Ben Kornick, Josh Burrich, and Joe Jankus. And then your halfback pairing of Maxwell John Palmer and Jake Adamson. Centers, Patrick Swanson and Christopher Jordan. Wings, Nick Navarro and Mark Soros, and Coleman Means at fullback. Nick Navarro, whose older brother actually played for A&M Rugby, and so somehow there'll be a little rivalry going on there.
Thanksgiving is definitely different for those guys.
This is a huge rivalry, isn't it? I mean, in terms of, you're steeped in the Red River sporting scene, and this is an important thing. These schools have an ongoing rivalry, pretty much whatever they do.
It's interesting, since A&M left the Big 12 for the SEC in football, these teams don't get to play each other on the gridiron.
Right.
So to be able to bash heads, in the rugby pitch means a lot. These teams, the fans get excited whenever they play each other, and they don't get to see it as often anymore.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, and people sort of don't really understand why that is, but so it is in football and in rugby. These two teams met in Austin in the fall, and it was an A&M victory, but it was a competitive one. And in fact, that was the one that made me personally stand up and say, hey, this Texas team is better than they were last year. And now coming out of the Longhorns, just jogging into position, and with referee Matt Mulholland getting them ready as well, talking about a couple of finer points of how he's going to call the game. We're going to get ready for the kickoff in just a few moments. This is a curtain raiser for it's a standalone game, and it's an important standalone game, but we also have a Major League Rugby game coming up here at AVEVA Stadium. It's great to see this fantastic venue being used for collegiate rugby, and Touche, this is something probably you'd like to see more of here.
Definitely. We were able to play our Conference Sevens championship here, and our teams loved it. The fans loved it. We're looking to do more things in D1A and USA Rugby here at this venue. There's a test match with the national team, and we may have some surprises coming up for you in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I did notice that there are some really nice fields right behind the superstructure, some extended fields. So if you wanted to put on an event that required more than one field, well, it might be a good place to do that.
Definitely. So keep your ears tuned to This Week in College Rugby. Maybe
That's
some
right.
big announcements coming up.
This Week in College Rugby show on 11 Sports FTF next app. And you'll find out a lot of stuff there as well. We just get about ready to kick off with Texas A&M going left to right in the mostly white uniforms, and Texas in their mostly black uniforms, their change kit, so we don't have a clash here. And we're just about ready. Referee counts, and we are off. The kick is up and just about lands on the 10-meter line. Referee says play on. And A&M's got it, digs it out, and quickly goes to a short ball for the forwards, just trying to make a little bit of gain line. Ball fumbled there at the base of the ruck. Well, forward comes A&M again. Makes that gain line. That quick pick and go. Not policing behind that ruck, and pretty heads-up play there by A&M. Dug out nicely by Keblis. Keblis trying to find a little bit of a space down on the weak side. Scrum half in, so pick and go once again by A&M, driving the Longhorns back. And now we look to go a little bit wider. Using Clayton in there, and a penalty against Texas. Offside, I think, was the call, and they're going to tap it and run quickly. Be a little bit more adventurous. Here come the Aggies now, hoping to catch Texas unawares. Longhorns do pretty well to just get in position again. Good surging run from the Aggies. Once again, out it comes. Spinning it wide once more. And the offload just a little bit to the ground. Referee is going to call that a knock-on, and some pretty good phase play from Texas A&M, but they won't like the fact that they gave that ball away with a knock-on. So it'll be a scrum down to Texas. They hung tough there on the defensive side of it the first few minutes. And putting it in, that'll be Palmer. And dug out there by Jankus. And Jankus goes to the weak side. Nicely taken down there by Hoffman. And the box kick. High, not very far. Well taken there by the Aggies. And A&M back on the front foot. Flying in there with almost a tackle there comes Texas. Once again, A&M looking to go wide. Kind of static ball, though. And, in fact, they've lost ground, tossing it around a little bit. And what can Soros do with that one? To pick up and go.
You don't see many 15 pick and goes, do you?
No, you don't. Not too many. He's a big boy, though. And Palmer gets it back out there. Looks like that was Fryer going into contact. And out to Adamson. Adamson looking for a straight runner. Flat ball. Good acceleration. And here comes A&M once again. The pass is connecting a little bit behind, but they're still moving it. A little bit of space out there on the wing. Texas holding on. Driving in once again. Sherhart on the clear out. And closer to the line now. Aggies. Did they get it over? Yes, they did. And after all of that, with the passing, it ended up being a pretty simple pick and go. Just surged right over the line, and it's 5-0 for A&M. Well, they worked the passes a little bit and eventually found a gap.
Texas is definitely going to have to shore up that guard dog position.
A couple of times now we've seen just the pick and go straight over. So if you're unfamiliar with the game, you do have your specific places to guard around that breakdown, and you certainly need somebody behind it because you can pick that ball up and go straight through, or run that question mark run, goes around and then straight behind, and so you need someone. And we have a player coming off for Texas. Longhorns have been hit by some injuries so far this season and are struggling a little bit on depth, so I don't think they want to see a injury. I never want to see an injury, but an early injury like this is going to stress them a little bit, and we've got a player coming off right now. And Zapata Sanchez. And coming off is Jack Hurley, the hooker for Texas. The kick is just short. Looked like it might have been online, but it's going to stay 5-0 A&M. Just about 5 minutes in. And already we have a sub coming on for the Longhorns with Connor Crowley stepping on for Jack Hurley. And the kickoff from Texas. Right under it is Dorgan. Handled but pushed backward. Good chase from the Longhorns. A slow dig out. Back come the Aggies. Good run from Ball. A rolling pass out there. And Texas. Finally, A&M trying to kick it free. That might have been a little bit partially blocked. And instead we're going to go with a penalty against A&M for offside on that kick. Are you a fan? If so, there is a show for you. The show Hit the Fan is not just about fans, it's for the fans. It's a place to have your voice heard about the things you are passionate about. Sports, movies, TV, music, comics, you name it. If fans are talking about it, we are too. The show Hit the Fan every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the FTF Next app. So be sure to download that app today to catch the show that's all about you, the fan. We're going to go with a scrum down, as Texas had the option for a kick further down the field or a scrum where the kick was initially made. And Jankus, once again, works a little move now, this time with Palmer. A little bit sideways, the Longhorns, but they're able to get down to the 22-meter line. First time we've really seen them run with the ball. Big double tackle. Out it comes again. Looking to work with Adamson. Adamson again. Oh, just sort of skates through. That was very nicely done. And the toss over the top. Longhorns inside the 22 just barely. That move had some potential, and the penalty against A&M, diving onto the ball, which you're not allowed to do in that ruck. And much better work from the Longhorns on this as they decide what to do about this penalty.
It's pretty obvious what the two game plans are. Oklahoma's going to keep it tight and bang, and Texas looks to spin it wide.
And Texas is going to opt for the kick at goal. And Maxwell John Palmer has scored a lot of points for the Longhorns this year. A solid goal kicker, so obviously they want to get his points whenever they're on offer. And if you have a good goal kicker, don't get too fancy with it. Palmer. And the kick is up. And just away to the right. Looked like it had potential. And quickly now the A&M players are going for the 22 dropout. They touched it down. A little bit of confusion there. I think one of the Texas players thought that they were running with the ball and thought it was a live play. But it was touched down quickly and taken to the line. And what A&M is looking for is a drop kick to restart play. So back we go to the 22-meter line. And we'll start it over. And remember, with the 22 dropout, the ball just has to go over the 22-meter line. And it does. Bobbled. Bounces around. It's a loose ball. A little bit crazy, and it is turned out to roll to the A&M side. Low pass. Trouble getting those passes working right now between the 9 and 10 connection, and it's going to be a knock-on. Good pressure also there from Patrick Swanson at the inside center for the Longhorns. And once again, Texas pressuring. They didn't get those 3 points they were looking for. But now, low ball, difficult to control, and smart move from Swanson. Didn't really have anything going on. Decided to kick ahead, perhaps make something happen. Turned out to roll A&M side. They kick deep. And now what can the Longhorns do with it? Another kick. He's knocked down. Who's onside? That's the big question for the Longhorns. I'm not sure they know. This could be dangerous for Texas. A&M on the front foot now into the Texas half. A little bit of a show and go from Zapata Sanchez. He showed, but he wasn't able to go. High pass. The ball just somehow controlled. Back out again comes A&M. Good double tackle from the Longhorns. And you see that A&M had the ball around midfield, and they've lost about 12, 15 meters after those two phases. Good run there, though, from Green. A&M. Quick little passes out to the wing, looking to stretch it. A bit of a wrestle in that tackle. Once again dug out by Keblis. A little bit of a poot kick. Texas, well, there's potential here. Not the strongest of passes, but a good run, and he's still going. And that's Nick Navarro. Wouldn't be taken down by the first grab, and not releasing the tackle player, diving over. Once again, A&M guilty of an infraction at the ruck and another penalty for the Longhorns. Fans, the new FTF Next app is here. Catch all the original FTF programming like the Simulation Football League Championships, D1A Rugby, and the show Hit the Fan live and on demand on the next new FTF Next app. Download it today. Kick to touch for Texas, and Taché, Longhorns putting some pressure on the Aggies. They haven't got any points yet, but putting some pressure on.
Well, they're always going to step up. If they're playing against A&M, they're going to give their best effort for sure. Both teams are pretty sloppy from the base of their scrums or rucks. The test will be to see who can clean it up first.
Tap down by Texas, but A&M just comes through to take that ball. And that was well done by Bazzini. And quickly out wide now. Aggies. Well, there's no one with him. He's got to stay on his feet. Nobody helping out. Finally, they get there. Texas very slow to organize defensively. If the Aggies can get that ball out quickly, they might cause some damage. But no, still slow ball. Going forward now. Aggies. Well, they've got numbers. Breaks through one tackle, breaks through another tackle. This could be it. Weak tackling from Texas, some strong running from A&M, and that kind of out of nothing is a try for Texas A&M, and they've doubled their lead, making it 10-0 here 13 minutes in. When you have a look at this, Taché, just not the best of tackling efforts.
I will tell you the difference is they put pressure because they were able to get some good passing from their scrum half. Their 9-10 connection was a lot better on that phase of play, which resulted in obviously a score. They were making it easy on Texas's defense with passes behind the runner or to the ground.
Just shore up that one little thing. Suddenly, it's everything else is a little bit easier.
Definitely. We'll see if Texas can answer, because that was their concern as well, was that 9-10 connection.
Now, couldn't quite see. I thought that was Clayton there at number 8 making that run. And Zapata pops it over, and we have a 12-0 game. Texas A&M now leads 12-0 after 14 minutes. And as you said, Taché, once we started to see a little snappier passing from the Aggies, well, the attack was on.
Yeah, it's really going to test Texas's defense because, as you said earlier, they weren't recycling back quickly. So if they're able to get the pass out quickly and play, Texas is going to be in trouble.
And the restart doesn't go 10 meters. And so that'll be a scrum for A&M, and the ball doesn't go 10 meters or goes out of bounds without bouncing. That will be a scrum in midfield. Fans, This Week in College Rugby is now on 11 Sports and FTF Next every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. We bring you up to date on everything happening in the world of college rugby with insight from our expert analysts around the country. This Week in College Rugby, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, only on 11 Sports and the FTF Next app. Aggies go right out of that scrum. Nice passing. Get it out to Martin on the wing. Still going. Delays it enough to get some support there at the breakdown. Back again. And this is a little bit better from A&M, a little bit more adventurous. deep inside the 22, just like that, off that restart error. Restart error is going to kill you every time. Pass, pass, pass. Back out to the left wing. Dustin Holta. So close in the corner. And looking to do that pick and go. They might be able to go into the corner. Referee checks. What's the verdict? And try. Try for A&M right off the restart, really. And that was a restart error. Leads to an excellent attacking situation from a scrum center. And then the pick and go in the corner. It's probably Joe Keblis taking it in. And 17-0 A&M leads. And so, Touche, those restart errors, they're going to kill you every time.
Yeah, it just changes the momentum of it. When you are doing a restart, you're contesting for the ball. You take that away from your team. You allow the team to be on the front foot. Texas A&M seems to have fixed their issue of the 9-10 combination. It's going to be a long day for Texas unless they can kind of slow this tide.
It helps to slow the tide if you're able to keep the ball. And doesn't it, isn't it?
Yes,
right?
It does.
and not being able to retain your own restarts and giving up that scrum was a tough one for the Longhorns. And quickly they went wide to the right and spun it back one more phase and then back out to the left. One more phase of pick and go and in at the corner for the Aggies.
Coach Lowry at A&M has done a great job with his program, and he has a lot of smart players out there. So the rugby IQ is pretty high. They knew what they need to fix immediately, and now they're looking to exploit the certain areas of Texas defense and their youth.
And their youth, for sure. So the kick was no good. 17-0 then. A&M leads after 18 minutes here in the first half of this Red River Conference game. A&M can clinch a place in the championship game with a win. Things are looking good for them right now. Good restart. Nice chase, but it was well taken by James Lardner. Prop for A&M. And not rolling away. Hands in the ruck, really. And a quick tap. Still going is Keblis. Keblis causing Longhorns all kinds of problems. And the pick and go, this time by Green. Dug out. Keblis sends it wide. And we've got a penalty advantage against the Longhorns, and they're going to play with this. Once again, sending it through the hands, back out to the left wing. Brown linking with Holta. And he's not going down, so going deeper and deeper into the 22. And back out it comes. Bazzini. Out to Zapata Sanchez. Flat ball. Once again, accelerating onto the flat ball. Could he stretch over? And the ball is just knocked free. The referee says penalty against Texas. We'll see what that is, but we're going to stop time just for a moment. And I think what we had was a tackle, and the ball put out to pass backward, and a Texas player came kind of flying over that ball and knocked it loose. And referee's going to his pocket, having a bit of a discussion. And whether this was sort of a professional foul, killing the ball. And no, he's not going to go and show a card. Just a long talking to, perhaps a stern talking to. Bit of a warning there when you're that close to the try line. Defending your own try line, you got to be very careful about those penalties, because suddenly that could be a penalty try. And with the penalty, A&M's going to opt for the scrum. And that will set up a very nice attacking position to the left or the right. And it looks like if they can get solid possession, they're probably going to go right there. Jack Clayton at number 8. Joe Keblis at scrum half. And Clayton picks it up. Not able to get to the line yet. Pick and go once again to the line. And it's over. Try A&M. And there were two or three Longhorns ready there to make the tackle, and they were right there, but they weren't able to prevent the ball getting put down, and that would be Will Green. And you see how Green just picked up, through 1, 2, 3, 4, and then taken to the ground, but he is able to make that extra movement. Once you're taken to the ground, you can play the ball once, and he just reached over, touched it down.
A&M's beating Texas wide. They're beating them in tight. Texas really doesn't have an answer for what the Aggies doing to them.
As you talked about the youth there, Shay, so a smaller team, Texas, and so a little bit of a size differential. I think that's causing them some issues.
Oh, it is. It is. It's size, and then you mix in, like I said, the youth of their team. And Texas is full of the Aggies are full of veteran players. Have been competing at this level for a while. And
the kick is up away to the left, so we're going to stay at 22-0. We're also going to stop for a water break here, just about midway through the first half. And to Shay, as we are going through this this Red River season, how do you feel about the Red River Conference overall in terms of, especially, we talked a little bit about parity and the competitiveness of this. We'll talk about that actually after we go to a break. We're going to go for a break, and we'll be back in a few moments and talk about the conference.
D1A Rugby, it's more than a game.
Aggies today push boundaries because we believe innovation is our oldest tradition. Our reach is global, our potential is limitless, and the change we bring will shape the future. Together, we're embarking on a $4 billion campaign to establish ourselves on the forefront of education. Some may follow others and only hope for success, but we will lead by example.
Want to catch the action at Houston SaberCats at AVEVA Stadium? Here's your Rugby 101 so you know before you go. Rugby is a high-paced sport. With 80 minutes of action, there's over 35 minutes of ball and play. Compare that to a 3-hour football game with only 11 minutes of ball and play. Learn the basic rules and get your tickets today at HoustonSaberCats.com. Be a part of the excitement.
What starts here creates leaders and sparks our future. What starts here lights our way. What starts here leads to answers to the world's toughest problems. What starts here builds opportunity and lifts up our communities. What starts here feeds the soul. What starts here changes the world. The University of Texas at Austin.
Restart there and knocked around, and it's going to end up being a scrum for A&M. And to Shay, we were talking about the conference in general. How are you feeling about the competitiveness of the Red River Conference this year?
Competitiveness has been great. We do have two teams at the top that really kind of stake their claim, but the rest of the teams it's really a dogfight and who's going to compete for that third and fourth position. Parity is what our conference has been known for. We've had different champions every year of our existence, and this may be the first year where we have a two-time champion.
That's pretty impressive. Most of the time you can sort of circle that champion, but not so in the Red River. Good attack there down the left side from A&M, but the defense is there and the ball is jarred loose, and we're going to go with a line out as the ball is taken into touch. So we're also seeing, we talked about the Longhorns being a little bit stronger. We're looking at North Texas, Texas Tech. These are the teams that are trying to bump up a little bit Is that something that the conference works with them, or is it really just up to them to try and improve their play?
Definitely. We work to improve all of our teams. We want to make sure that everyone's getting better every year. We love the fact that at the beginning of every season, we have no idea who's going to hoist that trophy at the end of the year. So watching teams like North Texas have a really good year. Last weekend, Tech almost shocked Baylor, in Waco. Oklahoma 3 years ago was at the bottom of the list, and this last year they won our conference championship. So this is something we're really pushing for.
And scrum won by A&M, and out it comes to the backs again. It's just a little bit of an iffy pass. And then an out the back door pass, and really there's not much he could do there. Hayden Martin, a little bit risky, but taken into touch before anything goes too wrong. Well, fans, 11 Sports is your home for college rugby, and coming up on Saturday, February 29th, our coverage of the College Rugby Association Game of the Week continues with a matchup between San Diego State and Santa Clara at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and that game can only be seen live and on the FTF Next app, so make sure to download the app today. Not clean possession there, but Green is able to pick it up and get Aggies going forward, once again running onto that ball. And Bazzini not able to gather it. It ends up rolling down to the feet of Zapata Sanchez, and not really the kind of ball that a fly half wants. Back again, Green, very active with ball in hand, but he's tackled nicely. Longhorns pushing A&M back, and it's shades of the first 5 or 10 minutes there with A&M winning a lot of phases and going backward each time. Better for Zapata Sanchez this time. Sends it back out to the left. Tidwell looking to use Holta. Once again, a loose ball. Once again, Green kind of cleans it up. Zapata Sanchez. Oh, well, he saw the player coming in to intercept that ball and wisely kept hold of it. Almost disastrous for the Aggies. And there's that gap bursting onto that line. Just on a silver platter. And number 7, Will Green, going in and touching it down. And you saw that Texas coming up so hard, so quickly. And then they left a bit of a gap. And Green just cut right through and back on the outside and in for the try. So that is the 5th try for A&M. This one under the posts. And 27-0 now for A&M.
For a moment there, it looked like Texas A&M was getting a little too loose with the ball. Yeah. I think they were adding some confidence after a few of the tries, and the game was starting to get out of hand. So he got sloppy with the ball. I can guarantee you that Coach Lowry will have something to say about that at halftime. But they eventually went back to their system, moved the ball like they wanted to. Easy try under the post.
And the kick is up and good, making that 29-0. But yeah, just a couple of crisp passes, and suddenly things go a little bit better for you. And they were able to right the momentum a little bit. Even though they were winning ball, they were going backwards, and then able to get Green bursting onto that ball like that. And so A&M leading 29-0 here. Texas, now what do they have to do to pick it up? Well, they have to get the ball back, and they have to keep it. The kick, a little bit deeper this time, trying to put a little bit more pressure on the Aggies further into their half, and they get a penalty. Shepherding or obstruction in this case. You can't use your teammate as a shield. Tapped, and Texas goes quickly. Caught Aggies a little bit unawares. And another penalty at the breakdown. Tapped quickly. And now they're going to call back. Referees are usually going to call that one back. Did not see Palmer tap that ball. And you've got to make sure that the referee sees you tap the ball at the mark. And they're going to tap it again. They're going to run a play here. Aggies ready for it this time. And this time holding on isolated runner, and they had poachers onto that ball, tugging on it. And so holding onto the ball when you're tackled, that's the penalty against the Longhorns, and a missed chance for sure for Texas. And really that was up to the support runners getting behind that and making sure they were getting to the breakdown quickly. Kick to touch for A&M, and they will take that line out just about equidistant between the 10-meter dotted line and the 22-meter line. So about 30, 35 meters away from the try line. Tom Batterson putting it in. Goes to the front pod, able to win that fairly cleanly. Zapata Sanchez, though, doesn't like that pass, and it's rolling around. He ends up knocking it on. And once again, to Shea, kind of iffy passing, iffy connection between 9 and 10, causing Aggies problems.
Yeah, I can tell you Coach Lowry is not happy right now. I can tell you it's an important connection. These guys work together every practice for this moment, and that's the only thing really keeping Texas within reach. If A&M can figure that part out consistently, they can put this game away by halftime.
Well, Jankus tries to go with it. The ball is knocked loose, but gathered up quite nicely, in fact, by Burich. Texas still has it. A little bit slow to get that ball out, but once again, Longhorns with it. And swarming around defensively are the Aggies, and they may have turned this one over. Still, Texas has it, and coming in a little bit too aggressively, perhaps, that time was Hoffman, and that'll be a penalty against A&M. And you're right, Shea, because I can see Coach Lowry from here, and he's been shaking his head and doing little movements like, now this is how you pass it, and you've got to end up making sure that pass goes to hand. But as a former sometimes scrum half, sometimes you're correcting every time you're doing it, and it gets in your head, and you never find the solution.
One of the tough parts about being in one of these rivalry games is the players often get geeked up. Yep. They get really overly excited, and I can tell that's what A&M's doing.
Adamson trying to cut back against the grain a little bit. Now they go with the big forwards. They just need to get that ball out a little bit faster. And once again, penalty against A&M, this time for a high tackle. That's the first one of those I think I've seen. Tapped by Palmer once more. Adamson looking to move that ball. Another pass out. Very nice catch and pass there on the outside. Just a little bit too static. Just about 5 meters from the line now are the Longhorns. Certainly the closest they've been to scoring a try. Can he get that ball out? Not enough people around the breakdown. Quickly comes A&M, and the referee is going to go back to an earlier call. And a little bit of a discussion between the referee and A&M players. Just again, a warning, an explanation of his call. And then we're going for another explanation, a little bit longer explanation. The referee is, what are your options? What do you want to do? And it's going to be a scrum down. So scrum to Longhorns, about 8 meters out from the A&M try line. And what we are seeing now is those flankers that come flying off the sides of the scrum, because we've mostly been seeing 8-man picks coming off the scrum. But Janka's still going, and you see there Hoffman just flying in.
I think he's going to go in the pocket for this one.
And he certainly has. That was offside after a warning. And a professional foul, releasing from the scrum too early to make that tackle. Again, a little bit jazzed up for a rivalry game, and just need to be more patient.
Well, this is Texas' opportunity now. 5 meters out, playing with a man advantage. They have to get points out of this.
And so the put in by Palmer. Jankus. Oh, he goes left, fakes them out. Looks to run right down the throat of Zapata Sanchez, but he was good with the tackle. Longhorns still have it, though. Getting close to the line, trying to stretch over. Once again, the forwards are there. The drive now, a little bit high. And they get it over. Can they get it down? It's going to be held up. We're going to go back to a scrum for Texas, but it was smart for them to get that over the line. 11 Sports is your home for college rugby, and coming up on Saturday, February 29th, our coverage of the College Rugby Association Game of the Week continues with a matchup between St. Mary's and UCLA. Make sure to catch all the action beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time, right here on 11 Sports.
Earlier in the game, we noticed that Texas had an injured player. It was Jack Hurley who broke his hand. Turns out that Texas is light in the front row, so these scrums have had to go uncontested since that point.
And quickly go out. That makes it a little bit easier to be sure that you're going to win the ball. But I think that's why we saw the flankers flying off so quickly. They knew how it was going to go. Ball lost, though, and A&M has been able to turn that over. Scoring chance for the Longhorns lost, but they still have it. There's a chance. Nicely under it is Means. Swung around unceremoniously there by Dustin Holta. Once again, Longhorns not shying away from engaging contact. Get that out to Fryer. Fryer, he's flung around. And to the big man, Zachary Sisti. Popped up again. And that was well controlled by Koronek. But he's isolated, and that's going to be a holding on penalty every day of the week. You have no one clearing out. That's a problem. And taken quickly. Batterson took it quickly, and he was clearing out, and they got a penalty, and they went back again. Not 10. So A&M has to, Texas has to retreat 10 properly. Batterson has been very active in a number of aspects of play. He's scored some tries this year, and sometimes in my reporting, it's a little bit easy to rely on who scores the tries. But I have noticed that if you have a hooker who scores a lot of tries, he's usually playing pretty well. And Batterson, it usually means he's in the middle of things, and he's already gotten a try today. I think I misidentified him at the time, but there was a big pile of A&M players, and all college players look alike anyway. But Batterson playing very well and getting involved.
Definitely, he's one of their top point scorers, but he's obviously has a high work rate, and he's around the ball quite a bit.
Gets involved in that maul as well, but that ball, a little bit of miscommunication, and kind of lost there, but Zapata Sanchez does a beautiful little loop move to rescue everything, and quickly out. Brown sending a lovely pass to Holta. Holta, maybe he could have stood to put his ears back and just go.
That's definitely a point you want your wing just to back himself and go for the line.
It's a team sport, but sometimes you want to go with, put some faith in what you can do yourself. Defense still hanging in there for Texas. Bazzini taken down, but he loses the ball. There's a good power run there from Sisti. Trying to move it back, and the ball was knocked backward. And that was an interesting one because we saw a few infractions bouncing back and forth. Somebody was holding a player back, and the ball was placed back and then rolled onto the A&M side. I think it's going to be A&M ball, and it's going to be a penalty, in fact, against Texas for, I think, a double movement.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the AR didn't chime in on that one. It looked like A&M had hands in that ruck, but it's what the ref can see.
A lot of bodies flying around, and sometimes they're in the way of what you can see. And we're going to go back with a scrum now. And that's been working pretty well for A&M. They're going to they can attack left, they can attack right. And even short-handed, a flanker, they're still in pretty good shape. So out we come with Zapata Sanchez looking to link with Purcell. Penalty against Texas. Tapped quickly. Texas now slow to get back. Longhorns a little bit discouraged, I think, because they thought they were going to score that one time, and they didn't get the try. Instead, they're now defending their own line, and you can see from the body language, they're a bit miffed about the whole thing. And another penalty against the Longhorns, another warning from the referee. I don't want to see these penalties right near the try line. You can see a card.
Yeah, there's starting to be a little bit more chirping going on now in the Longhorns' defense. Let's not forget that they're still playing a man up. They need to just keep their composure and try to stop this one and get some points on the board themselves. We only have a few seconds left before the end of the half.
Discouraging to have that first try-scoring opportunity taken away from you, and then you end up defending. And they're moving the players around, waiting for something here. And they're just moving all the backs around, bringing in a back on a flanker side. And now mostly backs to the left for A&M. One back on the right, a full complement of forwards in the scrum. The pick, the 8-man pick, shakes off one tackler, gets down to the line. One pass, and we're in. Try for Hayden Martin, and that will be a nice little exclamation point on a pretty successful, if imperfect, first half for Texas A&M. And just watch this catch and pass here. Quick little catch pass. And Martin able to just touch it down. So that makes it 34-0 for A&M. Certainly a makeable kick for Zapata Sanchez, but I think we're going to be below for halftime here right after this kick.
Well, that's a little disheartening for UT. They were right on the doorsteps about to score, and it ends up being at least 5 points the other way, not the way that Coach McKay wanted to end the first half.
Now you had to be thinking that they were making some inroads there. They'd forced a number of penalties. They were right there on the line, just a little bit slow to that breakdown. And the decision whether to clear out or whether to be there for the pass is always a tough one to make. And usually you want to err on the side of clearing out. The kick away to the left, a little bit short as well. And that will be your halftime. 34-0, Texas A&M leads. And we will be right back with thoughts and notes about the first half right here on 11 Sports. Well, we're back here at the Red River Conference clash between Texas A&M and the University of Texas. Texas A&M leading 34-0 at halftime. And I just wanted to remind you, fans, if you are a fan, there is now a show for you. The show Hit the Fan is not just about fans, it's for the fans. It's a place to have your voice heard about the things you are passionate about. Sports, movies, TV, music, comics, yeah, you name it. If fans are talking about it, we are too. The show Hit the Fan every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the FTF Next app. So be sure to download that app and catch the show that's all about you, the fan. And to Shay Flowers, commissioner of the Red River Conference and also part of the leadership of D1A Rugby, a lot of things going on with D1A Rugby. The partnership with D1 Elite in the playoffs, which I think is interesting. And, how are you feeling about the season so far and what's to come?
Oh, there's been a lot of surprises. Obviously, last weekend, the number one team in the country went down out of nowhere. They hadn't lost a game in 3 years. They were two-time defending national champions. Now, they actually rebounded today, and they beat the number 2 team in the country.
That's right.
at home. So,
same score, 29-22, same score.
Yeah. So it's an exciting time. These partnerships that we've actually been working with other parts of the game, obviously bringing the D1A Elite Women's competition to our playoff structure, where they'll be joining us at a few venues, and soon to be announced our partnership with the National Small College Rugby Organization, where their championship will also be hosted by us. Our events are going to be great. Playing in venues like AVEVA Stadium is really a push. Working with the MLR Rugby for these joint ventures is great. So we want to continue to expand our fan base, grow the game. That's what we set out for when D1A started, and so this is what we pushed for, and we're on that road.
All right, excellent. I got to pay some bills here just one moment and just remind fans that the new FTF Next app is here. Catch all the original FTF programming, like the Simulation Football League Championship, D1A Rugby, as we've just been talking about, and the show Hit the Fan live and on demand on the new FTF Next app. Download it today. And we've talked about the Red River Conference. We talked about the Mid-South being hugely competitive and teams that are doing very, very well. And we do have some conferences, though, where there's like the haves and the wanna-haves. I wouldn't say have-nots, but wanna-haves. We don't have a lot of time before we go to break, but you do want to see those teams bump up, and what can you do about that?
Obviously, one of our goals is to make sure that our second-tier and third-tier teams are also more competitive. If we can have a competition where 68 teams are really battling it out, but in any sport, you're going to have that. In football, you have FBS conferences, and FCS conferences. So we're just going to keep pushing, raise our level of coaching, and start the players playing younger, and hopefully we're going to have a competition where we're going to have 60 teams competing for one championship.
Youth rugby, high school rugby's got a lot to do with that, and I'll tell you, I'm talking to a lot of coaches who are now used to getting freshmen who've been playing for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And that's a great thing for the college game overall. We will be back after another break and getting ready for the second half here of this Red River clash between A&M and Texas.
D1A Rugby, it's more than a game.
Aggies today push boundaries because we believe innovation is our oldest tradition. Our reach is global, our potential is limitless, and the change we bring will shape the future. Together, we're embarking on a $4 billion campaign to establish ourselves on the forefront of education. Some may follow others and only hope for success, but we will lead by example.
Want to catch the action of Houston SaberCats at AVEVA Stadium? Here's your Rugby 101 so you know before you go. Rugby is a high-paced sport. With 80 minutes of action, there's over 35 minutes of ball and play. Compare that to a 3-hour football game with only 11 minutes of ball and play. Learn the basic rules and get your tickets today at HoustonSaberCats.com. Be a part of the excitement.
What starts here creates leaders and sparks our future. What starts here lights our way. What starts here leads to answers to the world's toughest problems. What starts here builds opportunity and lifts up our communities. What starts here feeds the soul. What starts here changes the world. The University of Texas at Austin.
All right, we're back here at AVEVA Stadium in Houston, which is hosting Texas A&M against Texas in Red River Conference play. I'm Alex Goff. Tashay Flowers with me. And Tashay, a lot of coaches talk about developing basic skills, and I'm not sure. Sometimes it's just thrown out there and people don't really focus on maybe what that is. And we've seen that in this game. The two basic skills that I've been seeing, and you've mentioned them, the passing, the direct pass from 9 to 10, and then clearing out at the ruck. How important is that?
That's the key to the game for A&M. When they've been loose with the ball and haven't been able to have that 9-10 connection, it's been a different game. It's been sloppy. Texas has been able to maintain possession and actually put them on the back foot. Around the breakdown, because Texas hasn't been able to really secure the guard dog position, A&M has been able to exploit it. So, I mean, those are two keys that are really important that I know that Coach Lowry drives home.
And then also in the breakdown, if you don't get people to the breakdown, holding on penalties, and that really didn't help Texas. And here, A&M up 34-0. We will be away for one more break, and when we come back, second half kickoff here at AVEVA Stadium. And we're back for the second half of this Red River Conference clash between the University of Texas and Texas A&M. I'm Alex Goff. We're with Shay Flowers. We're live on 11 Sports and the FTF app, and the kickoff is from Texas to the right, where A&M in the white is leading 34-0, and the Aggies are able to get that one together. To Shay, You're pretty sure that Coach Lowry said, let's get those passes a little bit crisper? That's what we're expecting to see. Oh, my goodness, crisp. But everybody was expecting that one. And going in for the interception, turning everything right around. Dogs and cats living together. Patrick Swanson comes in, intercepts that pass, and then perhaps a little bit too telegraphed, huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure that Coach Lowry discussed that play right there. But, yeah, well, the pass was crisp. It just was to the other team.
To the other team. And after all that slog to get to the try line and fail to score for the Longhorns, they were able to get a try right off the restart from an interception. We're waiting for the kicking tee, and nobody was expecting the kicking tee to be available. And there goes the coach, McKay, to go out and take it. And they've got a limit on how much time they have to get that kick done. So not a good arm there by Coach McKay either.
One thing that been consistent for Texas throughout the whole day was pressure on defense. They run a hard pressure line, so it was bound to happen if A&M was going to continue to be sloppy with the ball.
And we have seen them go wide. Usually when they go wide, you see that they're going wide, and that's obvious to see, and certainly went in. And the kick is up, is good. 34-7. Are you a fan? If so, there is now a show for you. The show Hit the Fan is not just about fans, it's for the fans. It's a place to have your voice heard about the things you are passionate about. Sports, movies, TV, music, comics, you name it. If fans are talking about it, we are too. The show Hit the Fan every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the FTF Next app. So be sure to download it today to catch the show that's all about you, the fan. Aggies kick off, get it deep, and Longhorns have it. Tails are up a little bit now for the Longhorns. Feeling like they can get something done there. Sisti going into contact. Playing a little bit of hot potato with it. But it may be doing the job as Aggies defense gathered up a little bit. The box kick is high. It's good. That's a difficult one to manage. Brown puts on a sidestep. Bit of a mismatch, fullback against lock forward. And it's a 1-on-3. That was a problem for the Longhorns. And second row, Cade Ball puts a little move on and goes around the outside. And lock on lock, yes, but they had a second row forward facing in to the breakdown, did the Longhorns, and they just didn't need all those players. Just pass out. They call for the ball, mismatch, and it's a try for the Aggies right off that. A bit of a defensive communication breakdown from the Longhorns and a try for A&M.
That's the way to stop the momentum from switching, right?
Yeah, that sure does.
Score quickly.
You turn your back and you turn your hips away from an attacking player. Really difficult to turn around and make something happen unless you're very, very quick. And Zapata Sanchez now with the kick. Kick is good. And that makes it 41-5 for A&M.
I think maybe that pick try might waken these guys up. Maybe Texas A&M will get a little bit more focused because it'll be a lot of running this week in practice if they continue playing the way they're playing.
Well, it's making them keep their eyes up, pay a little bit of attention as I don't know if we're seeing a few DC Old Glory players watching this game. I know they were here earlier getting ready for the game later in the day, but see what the future holds in Texas.
And not many days you get to watch the captain of the World Cup winning team
that's true.
play, so it's just be exciting to watch that game later this evening.
Hands quickly out to the left side. Holta does the roll. Batterson unable to handle it, but he gets it back. Bit of a lucky bounce. Clear out by A&M. Oh, little bit of a dummy and run, but that's going to be a penalty for tripping. And the player was lying in the ruck, and a dummy from Joe Keblis, and he runs around, and it's very tempting to stick your leg out and trip up a player. You're not allowed to trip a player, so that's a yellow card. Another way to just kill your momentum. And that'll be Patrick Swanson taking a seat for 10 minutes for tripping. Batterson now with the throw in. Nicely taken. Good maul set up from A&M. This is a little bit more clinical from them, but it kind of gets shattered after a couple of steps. Dug out by Bazzini. And now they run a switch move with Brown coming into the line. Zapata Sanchez, ball just a little bit too far in front of him, and another knock on and another misconnection between 9 and 10. And while it looks like A&M is going to be playing in that championship game, likely against Oklahoma, is that correct?
Definitely.
Yeah, we've definitely got that.
Oklahoma won today 62-5 over Texas Tech and secured their spot. And now A&M, with a win today, will secure their position, and will be a rematch of last year's conference championship, won by Oklahoma.
Well, they're going to be need to be a little bit better from the base of the ruck out to the fly half to beat Oklahoma.
Definitely.
For sure.
Definitely.
And Longhorns now working with it. Oh, big tackle put in there by Jason Tidwell.
And Will Green was there for the poach, not releasing by Texas. So we get a turnover and penalty. Started with that big hit.
And so they will kick to touch. Brown coming in. Fans, the new FTF Next app is here. Catch all the original FTF programming like the Simulation Football League Championship. And we'll just go back to the action here because he missed touch. And Tidwell going back into contact, taken down, not held. Another pick and go. This is Batterson. Batterson so very close to the line. Another pick and go. The forwards now taking charge of A&M, making that missed touch thing not be a problem for them. It was heads up play to chase that and make sure that they didn't lose that ball too long. And now out, thinking about going wide, and up come those Longhorns so quickly. Big tackle from Sisti. We're going back for another penalty. And the referee's going to hold that, not let the quick tap go. One more warning. We've seen a couple of cards today for professional fouls and some significant warnings as well. And the option will be take the line out. All right, fans, the new FTF Next app is here. Catch all the original FTF programming like the Simulation Football League Championship, D1A Rugby, and the show Hit the Fan live and on demand on the new FTF Next app. Download it today.
Hey, Alex, I think we're burying the lead here. A&M has a guy who keeps picking up the ball at the base of the rucks named Batterson. Is there a better name than that?
That is true. Batterson, you pretty much have to be a forward to start with. You better be playing rugby. Zapata Sanchez sends it wide. That's nicely done. And the backs are cooking with it now. Out all the way to Martin in the corner. The cover defense is there for Texas. They did well to cover across despite the fact that they're missing a back. But the pick and go, it's over. And see who got that try, but it is another Aggie try in at the corner. And that'll make it 46-5. And I believe that might have been Jason Tidwell who actually went in to get that try on a pick and go. And as we talked about, we got some backs doing the pick and go situation, but it seems to be Coach Lowry is talking about momentum, and you got quick ball, the ball is there, just go.
He's identified that Texas is having some problems recycling on defense. So he just wants to keep the pressure on them, whoever's there. go, 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 go. And it seems to be working. 46 points.
46 points for sure. 46-5 now with 50 minutes gone. A lot of tries out wide, which is why we haven't seen a lot of conversions. And now is an opportunity then for A&M to think about how to get a little bit crisper, how to concentrate more on executing rather than just winning. It seems like an odd thing, because if you execute, obviously you're going to win, but sometimes it's like you're almost afraid to take a risk of doing it the way you've been told to do it.
Yeah, you have to prepare. And right now, at this point in the game, A&M's preparing for Oklahoma. So they need to start cleaning up some of the things they've been doing poorly and, capitalize on the things they're doing correctly. I can tell you, you realize that A&M, the 9-10 combination might be a little off because their top player, Dutch Patterson, isn't playing. He's out injured, and he normally plays 10 for him, and that may be the difference. But you don't know if you're going to have him back for Oklahoma, so Zapata needs to be ready as well.
That's true. I did run into Patterson on the way in. He didn't seem too concerned. Ball sent quickly out to the left wing. Holta grabbed by one, finally taken down by Means. Slow ball, but bursting onto it. That's very nicely done by A&M. He's not held. He gets to go back up. The offload once again to Ball. And Ball is a baller, isn't he? Just takes 2 or 3 or 4 to take him down. Zapata Sanchez once again looking to distribute. Bumps it out to Bazzini, and back out. Looking to use the wings, and it was turnover by Texas, but done illegally. Tapped quickly again. I've seen a lot of quick taps today, and we're over.
Yeah, the penalty was for not wrapping. I've seen that a couple of times with Texas where they're not looking to wrap to complete the tackle, which is also why A&M was able to get up after the tackle on the near side.
And I believe that was Manuel Zapata Sanchez going over. And we talked about a young team versus an older team, and Texas started 7 teenagers, 19-year-olds in this game. Zapata Sanchez is the only player under 20 in the starting lineup for A&M. It's not a huge difference. We're talking 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds. But a year is a big length of time when you're talking about this age in terms of how much growth you have, how much time you have with an athlete.
Well, even more than their age, which is obviously important, I would dare you to go look at that A&M roster and see how many kids came up through the Rugby Texas system. So they're older, but they also have a lot more rugby under their belt.
Right.
So they have a couple of years. They have a couple of years in college rugby, playing in D1A, playing in the Red River. And in addition, they've been playing for 3 or 4 years in the high school level, where Texas has a lot of guys where this is their first year of rugby.
And they're learning that. And now what we haven't seen are a lot of soft tries. We haven't seen a lot where it's just sort of, we did saw a couple, but really just sort of falling off tackles badly and things like that. Texas is making A&M work for it, getting through the phases. That's why there have been so many pick and go tries, because Texas is making those tackles near the try line. Ball once again. He's having some fun now. Oh, another interception. This time by Christopher Jordan. And a pass to no one. That's problem. Towed ahead nicely by Brown. Means gathered that one up, or it's clearing out, trying to rescue it anyway. And Texas does really well to not make that disastrous. And once again, getting more bodies to the breakdown. That was the message, I think, at halftime. Probably a good message. Soros going into contact. Haven't seen an awful lot of kicking. This is sort of a kicking area, and that's going to be a penalty against Texas. Holding on to the ball. Batterson now taps quickly. He's going to keep going. They can't bring him down. Finally brought to the ground. Ball looking to use Holta. Holta cuts back inside. Another offload off the deck. And then Keblis so close to the line. The pickup, Batterson. Really good tackle at the try line to stop that one. Oh, the dummy. He thought he was going to be able to go through. Once again, the pick and go. About 5 tackles right on the try line from the Longhorns. There's no quit in them. Now we're going to go back out wide. Zapata Sanchez, he's in for the try. It was only a matter of time, but still the Longhorns made them work for it.
Definitely, if you look at what they were trying to do, one-man rugby or individuals trying to score tries, they slowed down, put it out to their backs, easy score. I will tell you that passage of play actually started because University of Texas once again ran alone into contact. With no support, A&M was able to turn the ball over, get on the front foot, 7 more points.
And the drop kick conversion attempt is good. Well, fans, 11 Sports is your home for college rugby, and coming up on Saturday, February 29. Actually, what I'll tell you about is this week in college rugby is now on 11 Sports and FTF Next. Every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, we bring you up to date on everything happening in the world of college rugby with insight from our expert analysts around the country. The week in college rugby, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, only on 11 Sports and the FTF Next app. And that is a really fun show to do. Being one of those quote-unquote expert analysts, that is really enjoyable to be part of that show. And look forward to doing many more. Very nicely taken by the Longhorns on that restart. Right in under it, put a name on it, and the go forward you get from that is just unmatched. Back on the field, Patrick Swanson, and he's going to go through, and sloppy tackling, not really paying attention by A&M, but also very good heads-up play and aggressive play from Texas, and they are in under the post for a try. And you see right there, he goes through 1, 2. They didn't really bring him to ground, and he kept his legs churning. 5 players had Swanson in their sights and unable to bring him down.
You mentioned earlier about no soft tries. Well, the reason I bring it up is because Texas isn't going to quit, no matter what the score turns out to be, just because they can't go back to campus in Austin and admit that they quit against the Texas A&M Aggies. They're going to fight for 80 minutes.
It was a really nicely taken restart. All of that came from getting under that ball and catching it on the run. Once you do that, then you're going forward. Defense is going backward. A&M really didn't organize themselves very well. And then because of that, somebody's feeling a little bit out of sorts. They don't really just stick that tackle. And really good aggressive running from Patrick Swanson. The kick is up. It is good. 56-12. And 2 tries from the Texas Longhorns in this second half. Something to build on, something that they've got to feel good about is to say that they are going to take something back to campus. We are at a water break right now, just about midway through the second half. And the teams are going to break for just a little bit of water and a little bit of a talking to, I think, from a couple of coaches. We are going to take a break, and we will be back after a few moments. And we're back from the break. A little bit of a water break there midway through the second half. Texas A&M leading Texas 58-12. The kick just barely 10 meters. That's good enough. And falls to the hands of Chris Jordan. And back out comes Swanson. Patrick Swanson got a really nicely taken try just a few minutes ago. But they lose that ball in contact, and A&M has it. And they've got a ton of numbers out there on the left side if they can think to move it. And Ball decides to call his own number, Zapata Sanchez, dropping it off to Brown. And the clear out there from Keblis, and very slow ball coming in. Is killing the ball by Texas, and the tap and go. And a try, just like that. A&M goes in. And that was just falling asleep a little bit at the wheel as we look at the replay to Shea, that nobody's really looking at the ball.
Yeah, like I said, they're going to exploit that entirely. Young teams, it's going to happen that way. And Jeremy Brown is just an excellent player. Always liked watching him play. I believe he's a senior this year. I know A&M is going to hate missing him. He's the co-captain, and he's really the heartbeat of this team.
And his older brother was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Those two really had a lot to do with the success A&M has seen over the years. As we wait for the tee to come on. Reminder that 11 Sports is your home for college rugby, and coming up on Saturday, February 29th, our coverage of the College Rugby Association Game of the Week continues with a matchup between San Diego State and Santa Clara at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. That game can only be seen live on the FTF Next app, so make sure to download the app today. Santa Clara, San Diego State, a big battle going on in the California Conference. Also have Pac Rugby Conference in action throughout this spring. The Mid-South, we just talked about a major result there with Life University bouncing back from their loss to Arkansas State to beat Lindenwood 29-22. Later on tonight, it's a non-conference Mid-South game, Clemson against Arkansas State. And then we also have several games on the West Coast. St. Mary's looking very good again in the California Conference as running out wide. The Aggies now trying to play a little bit loose with the ball, and that is causing a little bit of problems. Guess who's there? Patrick Swanson once again ready to steal that ball. He's got the idea of cutting off those passing lanes and making those kind of no-look offloads from the ground. I'm not sure that's what Coach Lowry at A&M wants to see either. I think he would like to see them settle it down a little bit more. And Longhorns.
Yeah, if Swanson can stay out of the sin bin, he's really an asset to have for the Longhorns.
Opportunistic player for sure. And that's a good little offload out of contact. Swanson again looking to make the pass. See if they can work Navarro into it. Navarro seemed to be a wiry fellow there on the wing, but too slow to the breakdown. Holding on once again, the quick tap. Aggies get that ball back, get that momentum back quickly. And they've lost that ball to the deck. Referee says play on. Ball so aggressive when he's running with it. Back out. Keblis sending it wide, looking to use Holta. Keblis once again digs it out. Everybody wanting a little piece of that now. Said, yeah, there's a little bit of fend, a little bit of a spin out. Not bad. I'm not sure who that was. I think that might have been Mancias coming on. And Zapata Sanchez. The little dish off to Ball. Oh, that's trouble for Texas. That is just beautifully done. And Ball cruises in under the post. And that was a lovely little sidestep, drawing 3 tacklers in for Zapata Sanchez. And the out-the-back pass. And Ball was right there to take it under the post. Aggies now to 70. I see him just cruise through. Wasn't exactly in his top gear, I don't think. I think he was just sort of striding over.
Well, he's had quite a few of those long runs, so we're not sure how much is left in the tank. Well, Alex, I have some updates for you from other Red River action. Obviously, we heard that Texas Tech went down to Oklahoma 62-5, but North Texas, the Mean Green, have traveled down to Baton Rouge, and they're up 44-0.
Wow.
I think on the Golf Rugby report, I think you had that game a little bit tighter.
I did, and I'll tell you what, LSU they haven't won any games, but they've been competitive. They've been right in there, and it can be tough. Again, depth issues can make it difficult. So sometimes you think, all right, they're playing at home, maybe they're going to hang tough a little bit. But I did think that North Texas would win, and North Texas has really come along, and they have some pretty good athletes on that team. So it's good to see them play well.
Coach Engelbrecht and Coach Marshall are doing a great job there. It was quite of a jump up from D1 AA to D1A, and that first year was a little rough on them, but they seem to be acclimated, and we expect some big things from them over the next few years.
What's nice to see is that they have a home, because for a while they and Texas State were struggling to find a place to play as they bounced between divisions, and finally North Texas in the Red River I think is a good home for them, and just settle down and say, this is our conference schedule, this is what we're doing each year, this is how we approach it each year. I think that helps them.
It definitely does. It definitely does. And we've been able to work a lot with their university. They fully back the program. They play at a new field, which is a really nice setup up in Denton. And we're like I said, we're excited to see what Coach Engelbrecht and Coach Marshall are going to do in the future.
And ball comes out for Texas off that scrum, and that's called a 50-50 pass, but really it's not 50-50. It's about a 10-90 pass. Turnover for the Aggies, and there Brown just putting on the sidestep, accelerating. They can't bring him down. Stretchy shirt makes it harder. Mancias now digging that out. Zapata Sanchez out to Purcell. Just working those passes. That's going to be a try for Aggies. You saw the hands go up in triumph because that was a very nicely worked backline play. And right out there to the wing, Hayden Martin, I believe, touched that one down. And we're past 70, out to 75.
They have a nice little backhanded flip there. I don't know if Coach Lowry teaches that style, but I know the boys in College Station enjoy it.
Well, they see it on TV, so it's got to be good, right? You want to do it there. You see it on TV, you're going to do it.
Definitely. Well, one of the things that Coach Lowry preaches also is controlling the contact area, and you can tell that's the difference. When A&M has the ball, they're running hard, they're running the space, and they're getting that extra meter even if you do bring them down. Putting the defense on the back foot, it opens up tries like that.
Well, we haven't really called the names of James Lardner and Greg Dorgan much, the two props for A&M, but that's because they were clearing out rucks.
Right.
I mean, that's basically what they do. They go in and they clear out rucks. Jack Clayton goes in and he clears out rucks, and it's that sort of unglamorous stuff as the kick goes over, and it's 79, I believe, 77 to 12. That's the difference there. When you don't resource that ruck, turnovers, penalties, all those difficulties. And remember, fans, 11 Sports is your home for college rugby, and coming up on Saturday, February 29th, our coverage of the College Rugby Association Game of the Week continues with a big matchup between St. Mary's and UCLA. Make sure to catch all the action beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time, right here on 11 Sports. That's going to be a high rankings matchup, and UCLA, they got a big game today against Arizona, and rankings are so important to Shea when it comes down to playoff time. If you don't win your conference, you still get into the playoffs with a good ranking, which means winning major games against other ranked opponents.
Yeah, it comes down to seeding. That's important. You don't want to end up in the first round going down to Marietta or heading over to Berkeley to play Cal.
That's
or
right.
Heading over to Moraga. You know, so the higher the seed, you may get a much more favorable matchup, because if not, in most cases, you're one and done if you're heading to one of those places.
And we did see that. I mean, a couple of years ago when Penn State went to BYU and beat them, and that was a huge game because you think they're in Provo. What are the chances? And Penn State put pay to the whole idea that you can't prepare, even if you play predominantly in the fall, you can't prepare for that game and do well.
Yeah, those guys played a great game. But like you said, seeding is important because one slot down and they would have been going to Marietta instead.
That's right.
So it was a huge difference.
Charging to the line, A&M going to take another one there, and that one was very vertical rugby. Got it out wide first, but then it was just pop, pass, drive forward, pop, pass, drive forward, pick and go, and another try for A&M, and we are over 80 now at 84. And all smiles and all hugs there, and some pretty happy Texas A&M players now. They know they've got this one in the bag at 84-12, and feeling pretty good. A little bit off at times in terms of connections, but just stronger in the contact, as Tashay was saying, and a little bit more aggressive in getting numbers to the breakdown to win quick ball. And Texas, they have worked very, very hard for this. But right now it's a little bit tiring. Less than 10 minutes to go. And they've been defending all day. A lot of work as well. And not a lot of subs. So they are just a little bit run down. They had to substitute off their starting hooker just a few minutes into the game with what looked like a broken hand or broken wrist. And as the kick is no good, we will stay at 84-12. So back to the restart, and it was that last try came partly from a poor restart from Texas. Ball didn't go 10. And that's a critical part of this game, isn't it? Just getting those restarts correct. If you give up that scrum center, it can be such a good attacking platform for the opposing team. And here, the ball goes 10. It seems it's knocked forward by A&M, and immediately Texas gets something going. And all it takes is a kickoff that goes 10 meters to put them in a position to get something good going. And so it'll be a scrum down to the Longhorns with just about, we've got 6 or 7 minutes to go. And it will be a win for A&M. They will be playing in the championship game against Oklahoma in about a month. The pickup by Jankus. Just a little bit slow getting off the back of that rock. I think he thought maybe that scrum, and I thought maybe he thought he'd knocked it on and got to play the whistle. Still, Longhorns have it. Held up, thumped to the ground. Once again, looking to make something happen. The kick ahead. That is an interesting kick. It's going to bounce on the grass. A&M covers it well. There aren't a lot of Aggies back to help out. But they do enough. Some beautiful, shifty running. Still, he's not going down. And the Longhorns really needed to put a shoulder to someone, take him down to the ground. But you see the fatigue is just piling up. And then we're going to come back for a penalty. And immediately referee will. And you look at this. This is how you go and use your shoulders. And finally somebody wrapped him all the way around and took him down to the ground. We do have a penalty against the Longhorns. And it's going to be a yellow card as well, I think. Take that under advisement, in fact, whether that was. I thought he was going for his pocket. But it'll be a line out for the Aggies. Won by A&M. The ball bounces around, and it's going to be called a knock-on. not well secured. You catch that, you turn around to present it, you still got to control it. And doesn't happen an awful lot that a team opts for the line out over the scrum here. You definitely want to opt for the scrum. We have uncontested scrums at this point because of an injury in the front row for Texas. So certainly they're going to call a scrum because they're guaranteed to win it. And here's the sun goes down here at beautiful AVEVA Stadium. What a great venue to host this game. And we are seeing the SaberCats versus Old Glory will be later. So a lot of fans coming in and get a bonus bit of rugby, some college rugby from the Red River Conference. And we think maybe we'll be seeing some big news about this venue and collegiate rugby coming up next week. The kick. Brown tried to control it with his foot. Didn't do so well, but he now has it. He's going to take off to the right. Just gets out of one tackle. And there's an effective tackle. Bit of a roll tackle from Longhorns. A&M looking once again to send it out wide. Loose ball, but it went backwards. Referee says play on. Dug out once again by Mancias. Good aggressive running from A&M. Looking maybe to get close to the 90-point mark. Ball now hanging out in the back line. That little chest pass. Trouble for the Longhorns. One more pass. The cutback. This could be it. Try under the post. No problem at all. A&M in for another try. Beautifully taken by the Aggies. And you see that the ball movement there. Oh, there's a good pass out of contact. And then the fend and the cut back. That is a great move for a wing to take in open field. Nicely done. Try. And that was a good team try for the Aggies. And that'll put them at 89-12. And I got to say, this is a more competitive game than 89 seems to make it sound. Usually when you hear that score, you say, and they just rolled over them. It didn't really roll over them. It is, as often happens in a rugby game, when you've been working really hard on defense, the last 15-20 minutes are pretty rough. As the kick goes over to make it 91-12. But the Longhorns did score a couple of good tries. One was on an interception. One, a really nice run. Patrick Swanson doing some good work there for the Longhorns. And they came very close in that first half several times. Just not experienced enough to get the bodies to the breakdown to win that ball and be patient, just bashing the line. And one of the hallmarks of what A&M is able to do is they were more patient. And they were more patient in the breakdown, close to the line, getting those picks and goes. And once this game is done, don't go away, because we do have a chance to talk to either the coaches or players and get some comment after the game. And Tashay has gone down to the sideline to get that done for us. So make sure that you stay with us here on 11 Sports or FTF Next app, because we will have more from this Texas A&M game after the full-time whistle. The line-out goes up. Longhorns have it. Come down. Can they get one more score out of this? 91-12. And like I said, it's really not been the kind of track meet you'd think a 91-point game would be. But Longhorns just not able to get people to the breakdown. Offside is A&M. Are they going to run it quickly? May as well just take their time. This may be the final play. A little bit of a discussion there. They're calling in Patrick Swanson to, I think, kick to touch. Remember, when time is up and there's a penalty, you can still kick to touch and take that line out. It's considered part of the penalty play. That is a relatively new law, a variation in World Rugby, and it's an excellent adjustment to the game, because it changes how you can finish up a game, especially in a close game. where you can, if you're going for the line out every time you take a penalty that you're not kicking for posts, you don't want that taken away from you at the end of the game. And so the line out coming in for the Longhorns, trying to finish up on a high. Still an improved team overall, Texas, and they drop it back out. Longhorns now looking to pass it wide. Catch pass, nicely done. This could be it. One more pass, but the cover defense from A&M is there. They're not going to let them go softly in. And in fact, A&M, no, it's a penalty against A&M diving on the ball. Now is the time for the quick tap. And I think we're going to have not retreating 10 meters. That's correct. So even though that pass was lost. And we almost saw Chris Jordan go over there. And now one more shot. Texas, the pick and go. Well defended by the Aggies. Pick and go again. So close to the line this time. And Aggies ruck over it, but where's that ball? Ball comes down the Texas side. Now they're going to go wide. There's just all kinds of space. They have to score. They will score. And that is a nice way to end it for what has been a bit of a rough game for Texas. The Longhorns finish the game with a try. Well deserved. And look at that. Just nice little draw and pass. That's the way to do it. Make those numbers work for you. And that'll finish it 91-17. The kick to come. And congratulations all around. That's just an indication that they weren't going to just roll over. Longhorns were going to play until the final whistle and past that. And that they did. A lot of limping going on. It's a tired group, but they didn't back down, not at all. So we're looking for the final kick here. For A&M, Tom Batterson at hooker played an excellent game. Will Green and Ben Hoffman both played well. Cade Ball, some big runs at second row. The kick is up. And it is good, 91-19. That is your ball game. Texas A&M goes on to the championship game. Smiles all around. We were going to take a short break, and we will be right back here at AVEVA Stadium for post-match reaction.
Test, 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 test. Can you hear me? This is Shea Flowers with the Red River Rugby Conference. I'm here with Coach James Lowry, the winning coach of the Texas A&M Aggies. Jeremy, right? Yeah.
A comprehensive 91-12 win for Texas A&M, and we're going to go down to the sideline where Shea Flowers has, I believe, Jeremy Brown and James Lowry from Texas A&M. Shea, what do you got?
This is Shea Flowers of the Red River Rugby Collegiate Conference. I'm here with Jeremy Brown and Coach James Lowry of the winning Texas A&M Aggies. Obviously, this is a big rivalry game. Obviously, you guys always come in fighting hard. Yes, tell me what this rivalry means to you, Jeremy.
Well, it means a lot. I mean, Texas is they're that fighting spirit. We always have that fighting spirit against them. We really want to put on a show against them. All of our fans show up, and they really want to see us win. So, I mean, it means so much. They're the highlight of our conference play right now. So,
well, the first game was a little bit tougher. They had the lead at halftime. You wanted to remove all doubt this game, right?
Yes, sir. Totally. We worked really hard on that. We really wanted to show what Texas A&M is made of today, and I think we accomplished what we came for.
Well, you did a great job. Well, obviously, this gets you guys into the conference championship. It's going to be a rematch because Oklahoma won against Tech. James, what are you going to do with your boys to make sure that the results are a little bit different this year?
Well, I think the core group that we have remember, and the group that we have now don't remember, so that's a healthy thing. So it's a new challenge, and it's an exciting challenge for our boys.
All right. Anything new you're going to be doing as opposed to next year or last year?
I think we gave it away last time. I think Oklahoma watched that interview before, so I'll keep it close to my chest. But,
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Well, congratulations to the Aggies. Good luck for the rest of the season, and we'll see you guys definitely on March 28th against the Oklahoma Sooners for the Red River Championship.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to send this back up to Alex so he can take us home.
So a somewhat comprehensive victory for Texas A&M. Some mistakes in the first half, but overall very impressive as they get set to play in March 28th championship game, Red River championship game against Oklahoma. Look for that on 11 Sports and FTF. Well, 91-12 victory, 91-19, victory. And so I'm Alex Goff, for Shea Flowers, and everybody here at 11 Sports and the FTF app. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week for the Game of the Week.